morning. We once again meet at the Sankhyan Perspective, and today we have a seasoned educationist with us, Dr. Vasanthi Tyagarajan, who has over 4 decades of teaching and administrative experience. She is the founder, principal, and correspondent of the Shishya School, Hosur. She has a doctorate in education, is passionate about teaching as well as training. She has worked with Dr. Howard Gardner on multiple intelligences in Harvard University in 2008. Madam Vasanthi is also a accredited trainer in differentiated instructions for Harvard University's online program, a true reflection of a lifelong learner. My compliments to you on that. She is a master trainer in classroom management, life skills, gender sensitivity, career guidance, value education, upholding integrity and ethics, art integration, NEP policy into action, change management, essential components of lesson planning, application of Bloom's taxonomy, creating conducive learning environments in classrooms, linking learning outcomes to authentic assessments, multiple intelligences, and storytelling as a pedagogical tool. Dr. Vasanthi is a member of panel appointed by CBSE for design of the Holistic Progress Card as envisaged by the NEP, a core member of the CBSE team that has designed the School Quality Assessment and Assurance, that is the SQAA, manual as well as the master trainer in the same. Dr. Vasanthi is also an active member of Mano Darpan, an initiative by the Ministry of Education, Government of India. Ma'am Vasanthi is the CBSE Teachers Award recipient in the year 2004, the CBSE Mentor Award in 2011, the National Teacher Award by CBSE in 2012. International level, she is the proud recipient of Fulbright Distinguished Award in Teaching. Today we'll be discussing Domain 6 of the SQAA Manual, School Quality Assessment and Assurance. And Domain 6 basically comprises of the leadership and governance. So Domain 6 has been subdivided into 3 domains, that is pedagogical leadership, collaborative leadership, and system for ongoing quality and change management.
Yes.
Ma'am, so my request to you would be that we are making these videos for people to watch and understand what is the spirit of SQAA. Before they actually go to read the manual, they should have some overview about the different domains,
Absolutely.
the subjects, the performance indicators and the standards. So that we were in the pilot project.
Yes.
We have a fair picture of what is the spirit and what all the SQAA involves. But the other schools, for them, this is the first time and something very new. So that is why that is the whole purpose of these videos, to be kind of hand-holding so that they get a better understanding. Over to you, ma'am, and we discuss Domain 6.
Thank you so much, Vinodita. Once again, a wonderful day to all the members who are watching our program. And first of all, let me begin by congratulating Vinodita, my good friend, for this excellent initiative, unique initiative of creating these videos for schools. Because Vinodita, schools could get bogged down by the manual or the requirements that CBSE is putting up as a kind of a hinge on the affiliation process. So people could get a little perturbed by it. And I think these videos would assuage those feelings and people would feel better. Because this series, which I'm already seeing, you've completed 5 parts in a row and you brought me into leadership. What I can see is that each of these sessions, which people are going to watch, they're not too elongated or long. They're brief. At the same time, the very essence of that domain is coming across in as simple a language as possible. Because I think that will hold the key to actually getting people into the domain of SQAA. Otherwise, whatever training we might do, we could go as master trainers everywhere and organize it. Nothing like listening to a video over and over again. This opportunity you cannot get when you do a live session also. People either listen to you or they don't. But here, this opportunity to watch it over and over again. I think that's a fantastic initiative, and I must congratulate you because you have done the pedagogical leadership program for my school, and all my coordinators and leaders, they speak volumes of the way you made it so simple for them, because the original 5-day thing was a little too strenuous, but the way you took it in a capsule, till today we are ready every year to put up our pedagogical leadership thanks to you. You know,
Thank you, and you are absolutely right, because see, if we do go in for trainings in 1 day or maybe 2 days training or even a 5-day training, we cannot absorb everything.
Absolutely.
And going and running and referring to a video that has been made that is free for you to watch again and again, it will make way more sense for everybody. More
Absolutely.
of clarity, and when it comes from experts like you, it is going to be very, very useful for all schools, all teachers and all school heads.
I want to start with this quote which the Sadhguru of the Isha Foundation speaks of, because when we talk about leadership, and we're talking in terms of leadership in SQAA, 3 things are integrity, insight, and inclusiveness. These are the 3 qualities the Sadhguru talks about. And I'm sure we'll all understand, not just as principals, but as leaders in our own capacities. Because we all, as viewers, could be either principals, some of us could be coordinators, and some of us could be in other areas of leadership. All these 3 are absolutely the typical uncompromising essential qualities, which are integrity, insight, and inclusiveness. And they will actually be the hinges of our program. As Vinodita has very clearly brought out, I'm dealing with domain 6 of leadership. And we all know a perspective of leadership is not necessarily restricted to that of a principal. I strongly believe as a leader, and I'm sure all of us do, that every member of the school needs to have that kind of a quality of leadership in them. This will range from everyone from the principal to coordinators to vice principals and so on. But 3 major subdomains, which Vinodita already pointed out, was the pedagogical leadership. It has 1 standard under it, and that talks about the intellectual and the professional capital that leaders have to build. The second one talks about the collaborative leadership, and we know today one of the crucial life skills of 21st century would be collaboration. And without that collaboration, and that too with neighboring schools and other members of CBSE, that shared intelligence cannot happen. And the third would be, do we have systems in place which are going to take care of continuous ongoing quality, which means quality is not a final destination. It is only a pathway to continuous improvement. And also we're looking at change management. And this does not need any special introduction, because change management, whether we liked it or not, was imposed on us through the COVID pandemic. And that change has helped us to understand that change need not happen necessarily through a pandemic of that kind. Change is happening every day. The CBSE brings in change. The NEP has brought change. What do we all do as leaders? And so this has got 3 standards which we should be a little aware of, where we're talking about the leader who's bringing in a climate, and also the responsibility and accountability, which is important, other than equitability, inclusivity, and also giving a lot of opportunities for everyone in the school. Because we all believe we need to be those leaders who generate lots of leaders under us, including student leaders. Then, I want to also touch upon this area called the unseen space of leadership. Because it's very important for us as leaders to understand that when something as important as the school's quality assessment as well as assurance is happening, as principals and as leaders in whatever capacities we are, we need to have that unseen space, need to imbibe it, to hear what is left unspoken. There are many things which may not be spoken. We need to hear that. How do we then hear the unheard? How do we have that ability to see what is unseen by others? How do you feel what is not felt? That's an ability by itself. And the unseen space talks about the humility of leaders at all levels to accept all members as they are, take the team as they are and take them forward. The commitment to goals, looking at reality from various vantage points, and the ability of the leader to draw that unique strength of every individual. I think if we follow this unseen space of leadership, we will be able to take not just SQAA, but any challenge that comes our way. So I'm trying to focus on some very significant pointers in Domain 6 leadership from the manual, and only a few I'm taking up as subdomains, and into the subdomains we're looking at certain standards or criteria which we need to be a little cautious about, because the language could be a little complicated, and if you're able to interpret it properly, then getting evidences accordingly would be good. So when you look at the performance indicators of the three major ones, and already I've spoken about this, I want us to look at this role of the school. Is the principal a boss or a leader? What are we? The picture speaks it all. And where is this principal in that cluster or the hive that we see on the screen? I think leadership involves the generation of leaders at various levels as shown on the screen, and maybe more than this. Depends on every school. Your coordinators, your admin staff, your management, your students' council leaders, public services, the people we interact with local bodies, parents who are part of the council of the school, the transport administration, the vice principals, everyone is included in this gamut called leadership. And therefore, it is our primary responsibility to look at how do we then generate leaders in all these areas and sustain them, strengthen them, empower them, so that everything we speak about, everything we want to happen, not just through SQAA, but through every aspect of the school, can happen through these empowered individuals. So I'm just going to focus on pointers, and then we will get into a detailed discussion if required. So under pedagogical leadership, it talks about the leader who builds a very intellectual, professional capital for teachers to set the direction for school improvement and student learning. That word, intellectual capital and professional capital, these two are very, very important words for us to remember. We have to build, and we have to develop, and we have to sustain and continuously improve on this capital, which is the major investment of any institution. More than infrastructure or other areas, I would rate the building of capital, intellectual and professional, as top priorities. So one such, the subdomain talks about it, and now we go into the criteria or the parameters. There is one which says the leader must build a shared vision in collaboration with the key stakeholders, so that you are able to align pedagogical and assessment practices within the school and national norms, which is the CBS requirement. We are talking about the capital being built for the school. The parents would contribute a lot in not just their own profession, but they would bring in their own experiences for the pedagogical assessment practices to be strengthened. The next one we look at is here, another one which comes in here under 6.1.1 would be your HR policy. Have you defined it in such a way that your practices encourage and motivate teachers? And most importantly, I'm sure we'll all agree that we need to avert attrition.
I would like to add on here, you are talking of teacher attrition.
Absolutely.
But what I personally believe is that when you give a good working environment to any teacher in that setup, the teacher is given due amount of credit,
True.
due amount of recognition to merit, and a working environment where you give them spaces to excel and to grow.
Absolutely.
So that is very, very important. Then the attrition rate comes automatically down.
Absolutely.
When the attrition rate, you say the teachers are being poached by, that is the word at times the schools use. The teachers are being poached. Teachers will never get poached if in your own institution these basic parameters are given. Teachers
Absolutely.
don't go for salary as such, as
True.
they go for other non-verbal or the environmental conditions that they have.
True.
So it is,
I
the
agree.
salary is not the only deciding factor.
We want to retain our teachers. Our teachers should feel bad even on a transfer when they leave the school, saying, I've left behind so much in a wonderful school like this. These should be teachers who want to come back to us if they've left our city and gone out somewhere and they say there's nothing like this school. That speaks volumes. The salary, I think, becomes secondary when there's that genuine passion for work. I fully agree with you. And I'll go on with the next aspect, because these are all pointers which come out in the 5 scale criteria, and I don't want schools to get bogged down by terminology. So your SMART goals or your, I think, reflective practices, Nivedita, they hold the key to improving your practices of pedagogical assessment. Because as we teach, I also teach literature in the school even now because I love it. I find that right after the class, engaging in a reflective practice, and as simple as what went well today and what didn't, and what are my SMART goals for my class, regular reviews with myself, my teachers, and the children. I think this is a very important aspect of this leadership. We're also looking at knowledge, skills, attitudes, as you rightly pointed out, and we're talking about various factors. These are 5 important things I found as criteria, where language could be a little dicey or tricky, but if we understand and interpret it, I think presenting this before the CBSE or anybody who wants to see your work would make it easier, because you have to look at the various aspects that influence the responsibility of the education sector. Are you looking at factors that influence the image of educators, the responsibility of representing? Where do you represent education sector? Is it just a conference where you go, or are you talking to parents all the time? Do you have a hub of learning nearby? And whenever you speak, does a principal use the language of optimism and positivity everywhere? I think these are some very important things.